Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday. It's time for machine embroidery. So I hope everybody's doing well. And today we're going to talk about what happens when your fabric comes out of the hoop in the middle of your stitching. Usually means throw it away and get another one. Well, not so. And we're going to show you two different ways of doing it. One using a machine that doesn't have a camera and one that does. So you know the one with the camera is easier. We've all had this happen. We've all been stitching and one of two things. We get a thread jam so bad that it's sucked up into the throat plate and it pops the hoop open and you think, as long as your needle did not cause a hole in your fabric, it is recoverable. On some machines, it's going to be easier. We're going to start the hard way, okay? Because this is the majority of the machines don't have the cameras. Having a camera makes it 1,000 times easier to fix, to rectify. So, without further ado, first of all, when I'm preparing my fabric, especially if I do not have a camera, like on my Elegante and the Allure that I have, do not have cameras, and my Sophia doesn't have a camera either, but I have recovered things. It's not as easy, but it can be done. So let's go to this machine situation. Okay, I have started stitching this design out. Close that. Okay, it's just a simple little design. This one was one of the freebies years ago from Hatched in Africa. But any design will do. So here's the design right there. Just a simple design. I'm not going to stitch the whole thing out. Now, if you do not have a camera, especially if you do not have a camera on your machine, like I think the Illissimo has one, the Destiny, the Dream, Luminaire, and the Solaris all have cameras. So it makes life a lot easier. But if you don't have that, which we didn't for years, if your fabric came out of your hoop, you might as well start all over because you'd want to like scream. Okay, so let's just say I have stitched it this far, and I'm going to see it's actually stitching, and catastrophe happens, and it jams, and you have to take it out. And the only way you can recover is you're going to have to rehoop it. Now, you can never, ever hoop exactly the same way you hooped before. But before I start, if I have a machine that does not have a camera, I will usually put a crosshairs. Granted, I do not usually do it in a black friction marker. I will usually just fold a crease into it just so I can see it. But you never see that on camera. And then I would use my templates, my favorite templates, to hoop it straight in the first place. And I'm going to do that even with the Destiny and the Luminaire. I'm going to make sure I have it hooped fairly straight and your design in the center of your hoop as much as possible. Okay? We can always get it perfect and you don't have to. Simply using the little notches right here. See those little notches? A lot of times we'll line up to those notches. That's not necessarily the center of your hoop, because as you will see, as I put this template over top and click it into and slip it into place, see that line right there? It's not exactly even with the nubby. So therefore, we're going to always use, I like those templates. I know the Luminaire and the Solaris don't come with templates, but I'm not sure if you can order them. But if you can't, get a piece of Templar, or that stuff you use to template plastic. Cut a piece of it so that it fits your notches in your hoop, and then draw your center. You can draw it yourself, and you can use those 9 points of your targeting to mark the holes in the template, so you've got something to guide yourself with. Okay, so I'm going to pop this out. Okay. And yeah, you can never get it the same way twice. And you just get it in there as best you can. And I still have the ridges, so a lot of times I can depend on those ridges. you know, where it makes on the, it makes all the, yeah, close that up some, on the fold. See, like whenever you take it off, you usually have these little lines. So that helps you to get 90% there. And it wouldn't hurt if you have this targeting line drawn in or folded in to use that template to check your placement. Just to give you an idea, how off are you? Actually, yeah, see, I didn't get it. Here's my, you can see it, the line is here. And it's not quite straight, and it's not in the direct center. It's close, but not quite. Why I use this is because, and it always helps to use a hoop a little bit bigger than you absolutely have to have. So if this were a 4x4 design, or 3.5 by 3.5, I'd probably still use the 5x7 frame instead of the 4x4, because that gives you more wiggle room. Because if this is so close, you've got to rehoop that perfectly in the first place, and I don't want to have to do that. So what I would do is go over, put it back in. Okay, I would go over here. Okay, I'm going to go to the plus and minus, let's just say. Usually before I take it out of the hoop, before I take everything and start again, I usually know what stitch number I'm at. In case, because sometimes these jams happen when your hoop hits the wall or hits a can of 505 spray and throws it off track. So it throws it out of the axis, and so the only way to recover from that is to stop your machine, turn it off, turn it back on, and I will show you what this one does. Now the higher end machines, actually most of them now, the newer ones, that if you turn it off and turn it on, come on, it recalibrates the hoop. I call it the morning dance. And then it says okay to recall or resume. Yeah, it'll remember where you left off. Okay, so you would put your hoop back in. And now we get to play. Okay, so from here, I would hoop it. And I'm looking for the straightest part of the design, places I can actually identify with. Like anywhere here on these, that's a fairly solid line. The points of leaves, where things intersect, because you are going to have to go to that spot. So let's just say I'm going to use the plus and minus key to advance this, say 100 stitches, and see the little green crosshairs? That is showing you, let me go back one, I'll go back a color stop, and again, and again. I want to go, I'm going to the black, because I'm going to use these lines, so I'll go about 10 stitches forward, till I'm looking here to where I can find something that I can identify. There, right there. So, and I can increase this size to bigger. Let's see. All right. So, see where that is? I'm going to probably move that one stitch at a time until I get it down there. On the new machines, you can go ahead and increase the view. On this one, you can't. So then I go over to here. And I'm going to go really close in, because I'm going to drop that needle. And is it in the same place? Nope, it's lower. Okay? And unfortunately, what you have to do is, okay, I'm remembering that stitch number 146, because it's telling me I'm going to go back to 0. Then I'm going to use the targeting stickers to move up just a little bit, which is these points. I'm going to move up just a tiny bit because it was a little low. I'm going to go up a tiny bit, maybe 4, and then I'm going to go back to that spot, plus or minus, to 140, let's say 46, I forgot what it was, 47 I think. Okay, no, it was 46. Okay, then I look over here. maybe just a tiny bit higher, but I'm going to check again, okay? I'm going to check another. I usually check 3 points before I start restitching, so I'm going to move ahead. Needle is down. Needle has to be up for it to move. Okay. Wait a minute. That's not there. Look at it bigger. Okay, nope. It's a lot more tedious, that I do have to tell you. There, I think that's it. Okay, I'm still too high because I want it to touch. Well, let's move to another spot. That's not real clear. Let's go here. No, I don't want it there. I'm looking for, here we go. Oh yeah, way too high. I'm targeting right there, way too high. So I gotta come down. So go to 0, that's stitch number 428. And I'm gonna use my arrow keys again to move it down. About what it said, plus or minus 2, 1, 4, 20, 8. Oh, maybe one more click up higher. Okay, back to 0. I know this is tedious, and it was. Did I need to go up or down? I can't remember. Maybe 2. Okay, plus or minus again 4. Nope, that's 5. 4. 28. Okay, it's right on. See how that needle's penetrating that part? And so now I can actually move forward a little more, check it in another couple places. Okay, we're good. It looks like we're good. Okay, so now I need to find the green where I left off. So I'm going to go ahead. Don't need that. Okay, green. Now I'm going to move forward. It's still zigzagging. And what? See, again, I'm looking here. And I'm moving this till it's about where I left off. Okay, that looks like it's about where it left off. I will check it again a couple of stitches. Looks like we're good. Okay. Then when I feel it's relatively good, I'm gonna hit the pedal. I'm just gonna let it do this leaf. We'll know if it doesn't work. I'm not gonna stitch the whole thing out. And yes, see that puckering going on? I did not put Terra Magic on this sample piece. Oh, that looks good. Okay. There, I'm not going to finish it there. Okay, come on, stop dancing. Thank you. Yes, I talk to my machines. I yell at my machines. I plead with them sometimes. So, okay. That leaf, that's really good. See, and it wasn't that hard to do. It's just tedious, and this will work on every single machine, and the same principles will apply even if you have a Janome or a Viking or a, what's the other ones, Pfaff, Bernina. I mean, the principle is the same. You reline it, you adjust it. Sometimes you might need to change the angles, and so sometimes you may have to go back to 0, because sometimes it's way off. You'd go back to 0 and you would go into your edit and rotate it. And you can rotate it 1 degree in most machines. The newer machines, you can do a 1/2 degree or 1/10 of a degree. So sometimes you have to rotate it. So a lot of times when I've got a lot of it stitched in, I would check in 3 places. I would check that it would be down here correct, up here correct. If I have a triangulation that 3 spots are exactly in the right place, you can be confident that's going to be good. Now, does it account for pulling? No, it doesn't, because this is thinking fresh, brand new embroidery. Your hoop is already pulled. So, but that turned out half decent. Any questions? Okay, let's go on to the Destiny, because it's going to be a lot easier on the Destiny because we have a camera. Okay, so I've started stitching this one, and same thing. My thread. Okay, same thing happened. Now, again, I have loaded, or I have drawn in a crosshairs just so you can see it. I would also, again, put the template on and get it 90% there in the first place. But here, I'll make this one a little worse. Change it so that it's really off. Okay. There, I've rehooped it. Okay, so I will put the hoop back in. Okay, so this is where I left off at stitch number 1660. I'm going to turn this, go plus or minus, back to 0. Okay, so now I can touch the camera. I'm going to scan, and see, now it's scanning. I'm scanning my fabric. Okay, it's scanned it, and it has put it up on the screen. And it does, see how this does not match. Okay, so now what I have to do is move the design to match my fabric. Okay, so I am going to hit OK, and I'm going to move. And use my, I hit move, then I'm going to move this design the other. Okay, and this one I can make it larger. Let's see. There was a way to make it larger, I can't remember. Okay. Now I can see it really up close. I hit this plus or minus button up here. Okay, it was how I got to that. Let me scoot this back. How I got here is I went to move, or I went to this key right here, the magnification key. On the Luminaire, it's on this side of the screen. Luminaire and Solaris. So I hit that. I'm going to hit this plus key. I want to see it up close and personal. And now I can see that I need to scoot it over just a tiny bit. So I hit OK, and I'm going to scoot it over one, or maybe I went too far. Try it again. Let's say that way a little more. Like somebody, you still have to fiddle around. I'm not totally happy about it, which probably means I need to rotate it. So I'm going to edit, rotate, and I want it to go that way because I can remember the negatives and the positives, but I know I want it to go this way. And I can move it. That looks much better. Okay, I'll move it out a little bit. Maybe moving this the wrong way. Yes, I am. See, now it's not gonna, sometimes it doesn't match exactly because of that pull that goes on with the fabric. So you just sort of have to get it as best you can. over. Nope, that looks worse. Let me go back over here. That's pretty good. Okay, so then I go to OK. OK. Now I'm going to move it back to that green section. So remember, with this machine, I want to go, it's saying it's doing the black. We don't need to do the black again. And this says going ahead 1, 10, 100, and 1,000 stitches. This says go backwards 1, 10, 100, or 1,000 stitches. This you would think would move it ahead of collar stop. No, they're crisscrossed. We've told the engineers the forward one should be on this side, not that. And it says, looks like it is a forward, right? No, it's this one. Okay, who does the rows? There's the green. Now we need to go back up to that section, and where do I? Okay, 16, about 60. I think, what did I say? 60. Okay, there's 60. I feel confident that this will stitch correctly. Let's see. Everybody say a prayer, because that helps. It can't hurt, right? Okay. Let's see how well that stitches that leaf. Wonderful. Anyone have any questions? Let's see. Chris does. What if you have to take the fabric and stabilizer out completely? Yeah, same thing. You're just going to rehoop it and then scan it and keep moving it around. Yes, because sometimes it eats the stabilizer. Yes, I took that fabric out of the hoop. I don't know if you saw it, but yes, I did take it out of the hoop and I repositioned it in a different spot. You don't need to do that. I'm not going to do the whole thing. For one thing, this is cheap polyester, crappy fabric anyway. But it's good for samples. Oh, come out, come out. How do you, okay, I'll show you again how we scan it, but let's take a look at this first and then I'll show you how I scan it. See, there we go. Well, here, we'll fix this leaf, okay? So we'll go through the process again. So anyway, so that turned out pretty decently. Okay. Fabric is, we'll do it one more time. Fabric is out of the hoop. Here's the hoop, and I'm going to just put it in here. I need a flat surface. I cannot hoop in my lap. It's just never going to happen. So I'll hoop it off camera, and I'm not going to use the grid just so that if it comes, you get it sort of in the middle, but as close as I can get it. Now I have rehooped it, see? Okay. I will put this in here. Okay. Hoop is in the machine. Okay, I'm going to go back to here, okay? I'm in plus and minus. Now I'm going to go back to 0. Okay? I can turn that editing off. That doesn't matter. See this little camera thing? And it's going to be in different spots on the Luminaire and the Solaris. But it's approximately in the same spot. You're going to look, it's the same icon. Look for that icon on your machine and you scan. And it says the frame will move with the built-in camera. Let it do its thing. And so, see, it's scanning. The Elissimo also has this if you have the Elissimo as well. Okay, so now it's scanned and it's on my screen. Let me turn that overhead light. Now that big glob is gone from the screen. Okay, so this is scanned and you see, I should have used different colors so you could see the two different ones. Okay, what do you do if you have a hole in the fabric? Depends on how big the hole is. Sometimes you can patch it if you have a hole in the stabilizer. If you have a hole in a tearaway stabilizer, then what you do is you take a scrap piece of it and use that 505 spray the back of it, and slap a scrap piece on top. If you have a hole in the fabric, some can be recovered, some can't. Depends on where that hole is. If it's on a place that that is going to be totally covered by stitching, stick in a piece on a patch on the back of cutaway stabilizer. Just put a little patch back there so it'll have something to stitch onto. And then also, you know, that will help. So sometimes you can't. I've had somewhere, no, you can't. You got a big hole in there, and it's right in a spot that's going to show. A lot of times, like I said, if you can stitch over top of it, put a piece of cutaway stabilizer behind it, put some of that 505 or the K2000 spray it on the back, because the stitches, if you don't have any fabric and you don't have any stabilizer, your stitches are going to jam again, because the stitches have to have some place to grab onto, so you got to give it something to grab onto. Okay, so that's okay. Now going back to scanning, it's scanned in, and then I'm going to look at it and see. Okay, it's way off. Now you can see the one that's slightly fuzzy is your stitching. The crisp, clean one is your design. So I'm going to go to, close that out, go to move, or actually you can even put it on rotate, because you've also got move capability here. And then you go to big. Okay, I need to move it, and I need to move it over this way and up. So I'm going to move it over, and you can see it fairly decently here and up. Okay, and then I'm going to look at it close up and personal again. And I have it on one side and not the other, so I need to scoot it over a little bit. And I'm wondering if I need to rotate it. Don't think so. Like I said, we've got some pull here. But I've already stitched this, so I'm going to be more in concern with where it hasn't stitched. Where I want it to go. See, this is the line I'm really looking for, because I know this is close to that line, and it'll be noticeable if it's way off. Okay, so I'm going to move it. Whoa, I went crazy here. Again, I'm looking at this key, the plus, and I am looking. I think I need to rotate it some. That could, nope, I'm just going to move it down a little bit. I'm going to move it down a little bit. Down and over one. Look at it one more time. See, this one is right in line, and this one is here. And I also want to look here, because I don't want it, I see a little bit of stitch. See this black here? That is actually the bottom part of this leaf, so that is off. This is where I want to go. So go back again, move it, and I'm going to rotate it up a little bit, because I want to go this way. Okay, the tip of the leaf is at the tip of the design. Okay. Like I said, some of this shrinkage, it can't be helped, and that's because the fabric has shrunk in. A lot of times that can be eliminated by simply using Terrial Magic and making your fabric nice and stiff and really, really, really stable. We would have more difficulty lining up this outer edge, because it encompasses such a great area. Now, if a lot of, especially like the Hatched in Africa designs, where it's got big designs, you know, parts all over the screen, you got part here, part here, part here, I would sew this part, then realign it for this part, because you got different pull in different sections. Okay, let's see. Janet asked, can you remove a part of the design from in the machine design? I did not want the border around the design. It says not a problem for fabric out of hoop. Okay, actually, if you want to remove it, you can't remove it in the machine. To remove the color stop has to be done from software. However, you can just skip over it. Don't stitch it. Like say if I only wanted to do one leaf. I've done that before, but what I do is I sit there and watch the design, stitch out until it finishes this leaf, and then it goes over here. Now, if you're not sure of the order that it's going to stitch in, on the newer machines, it's got, I think there is a stitch out on the Luminaire, and the Solaris allows you to look at the stitch out like a simulated stitch. But if you don't, if say you're stitching this out and you don't know how it's going to stitch out, I would go to plus or minus 0 and go through the, you can either go through the color stops, and let me eliminate the background. Now, this is going to show up a lot of times, and you can't get rid of the scan, and that can be annoying. Wait a minute, I want to go to the help screen, the last page. I think it's the last page. Yep, turn it off. Okay, so now your scan's not there anymore. So this, I could, if I wanted to see how, say if I wanted to eliminate this little curly Q, okay? I usually sit there with a little pencil and paper or whatever, and I would go, let's see, I'd probably go 100 at a time, and I'm watching the green line. See the green right here? It's showing me how it's stitching. Okay, 100 is too far. Okay, so here it's over here, and I'm at stitch number, can't see it, 140. So I would skip ahead. Okay, it looks like at stitch number 142 is where it begins that little curly Q. Okay, and then I would say I want to eliminate that curly Q. I just keep going forward, one stitch at a time, until this showing you how it stitches out. Sometimes you have to do this one at a time. 10 maybe, 10, so I'll go 10. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're back on the main curly Q part, and now I'm at stitch number 244. So I would stitch along until I got to that 140 stitch, then I would stop, skip it forward, plus or minus it to 244, and continue on. Say I wanted to do this leaf, but not that leaf. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead a leaf. Color, I don't need that. Okay, now when I'm doing the leaves again, it's hard to see because now say I wanted to do this, take out that heart. Let's do that. Let's talk about that one. Go backwards to the heart. The problem is that you can't, because this from, I don't know where my stylus is. Let me put the lid in. There. Okay, the problem is that from here to here, see that thin line? That's a jump stitch. That means I can't eliminate that heart. It'll put a blank spot right there. Yeah, I like, software is always the easiest way to go. But we don't always have software, and there's times where, you know, I don't bring my computer and I do bring my machine, and I've got my little one, so I will, you know, I always have to mess it with a design. Can't leave it things alone. Now the green is a little hard to see, so wrong way. See, the green and the green cursor are hard to see. So what I might do in that case is go back, return, and change the color of the, change the colors. So I move it change this green to a something. I'll make it pink. No, not that one. No, wrong one. Leaf green. I want to change that to a pink. Okay, so then when I go to embroidery and edit and move or go forward, I can now see where the leaves are. And now I can see over here the green cursor. I couldn't see it before. So, okay, so here's where that one ends, I think. Let it lock stitch in. Oh no, we saw that. See it stitching as I'm moving forward one at a time. So I'd want to stitch that one. Okay, and then I would scoot forward. Come on. Okay, to right here. Okay, so this is saying it's stitch number 1814. And then I would stop stitching there until I got to stitch number 2115, and then continue stitching on if I wanted to eliminate that leaf. So that's how you do it in the machine. Yes, you could trim, Chris said, yes, you could trim the jump stitch. Yes, you can, but then you'd have a blank. You would have, it would show, let me go back. There, okay. Oh, I changed that to orange. I didn't know I did. Okay. The thing is in the finished design, you would have, if you cut the jump stitch, then you've got a blank spot right here, because there'd be no heart to fill it in. Where'd it go? Where's the heart? See, the heart would, see that heart covers that jump stitch, so that it's not, doesn't go through the middle of it. And see what happens is you would have that blank spot right there if you didn't have the heart there. That's the only problem. Now, can that be fixed in software? Sure, you can. Just draw another line in there. Take the pink heart out and draw in a little line and fill it in. Then yes, you could do it. But you could do things. If you have the Embroidery Works Advanced, you could actually, because it does stitch from here and goes to here. What you could is come over to here in the Advanced, turn it on the stitch editor, and then you could add little stitches. Just add a stitch, add a stitch, add a stitch until you filled them in. That's the thing is there's more than one way to do everything. Some is easier than others, and who knows. That's about all for you guys today. So you guys have a great weekend. See you later. Have a great weekend and keep on sewing.